Welcome G. Let's start Java tutorial. Today I am going to discuss about the synchronizations. Okay, when we are working on a multiple thread, sometime need synchronization between the threads. Okay, let's get thread T1 working, thread T2 working. So I want to make some kind of synchronization between these threads. So threads communicate primarily by passing the by sharing access to a field and the object references that refer the field. Okay, when thread 1 and want to access to thread 2, so say they are sharing some object reference, object 1 that referred by thread 1 and object same object referred by thread 2 as well as T1 and T2. So here needs some kind of your okay. So thread communication primarily by sharing the access to a fields are and object references that field. This form of communication is extremely efficient and make two kind of error possible: thread interference and memory consistency error. So whenever we are going to shared some object, okay, sharing some object between the multiple threads, okay. So there are kind of a uh, benefit is the also benefit you are a same object accessed by the two is the benefit, but also have a some problem. So generally they have a two kinds of problems, okay, or here you can say possibly thread interference and the memory consistency error. So we'll discuss how this work and how we can synchronization help us to prevent these errors. Okay, so, so synchronization is a mechanism to prevent to solve this error. Okay, so whenever you want some thread communication, so generally we are going to the sharing object, okay, between the threads. Whenever you are sharing objects, you are getting some kind of benefits but some kind of error as well. So how to solve those error? That help us your synchronizations. Synchronization help us to solve the some kind of error while you are sharing one object with the multiple threads. So synchronization can introduce thread contention, which occurs when two or more threads try to access the shared object simultaneously and cause the Java runtime environment to execute one or more threads or more slowly or even the suspended their execution. So some kind of problems also occur like starvations and some live lock problems also. These form of a thread contention. So so whenever you are trying to introduce what is the meaning of thread? So whenever you are going to use the synchronization can introduce thread contentions as well as they solve the some problem. Synchronization solves some problem, but whenever you are using synchronizations, you are using some different kind of problems as well as known as a thread contention. When occur when two or more threads try to access the same resources. This is the one resources in here in the Java terms object. One object you shared by your thread 1, thread 2, thread 3, multiple thread they are sharing. In this case there is some problem. That is a problem about the starvation, some live logs, the deadlocks. So we'll discuss these also whenever you are going to apply the synchronizations to solve the thread interference and memory consistency problem. we are in another situation as well as thread contention, maybe starvation, maybe deadlock, maybe live lock. These are the problems can also we have to take care. So some solve synchronization, some solve our problem, but have some different perspective as well as. So please be ensure whenever you are going to the solve the thread communication happen between sharing the object, but whenever two threads multiple threads sharing the particular resources, common resources, and you are going to the solve thread intervention and memory consistency problem using the synchronization keyword. Okay, synchronization have a different problems whenever multiple threads try to uh, when two or more threads try to access the same resources. Okay, then cause some Java runtime issue. Okay, one or more threads slowly. So these are the some pros and cons. So Java threads mechanism to communication between the threads using the shared object, yes, shared resources. The P consciously use the synchronize to solve the problem, but so whenever we are introducing synchronize, we have different kind of problem as well as that. You also you have to take care. So let's first we about talking the you thread interference. Interference happens when two operations running in the different threads but acting on the same data, that is the interleave. Okay, this means that the two operations consist of multiple steps and the sequence steps overload. Okay, the sometime you face kind of same operations is performed by step. Let's one up this operation define the three statement, statement 1, statement 2, statement 3 are the same operation at the same time doing by the multiple threads. There might be some operation overlap, and that is the problem of interleaving. So this is the problem when you are communicating two threads with a shared object. Let's we have a one counter class we can have a one variable count. We have a one function increment, another is the decrement. So in increment just increment plus plus, decrement just decrement plus plus. Okay, so let's this counter object is you have created counter object and share to the multiple resources, then whatever. So you have to notice this C++ operation, this C++ operation look like a single operation. C++ can be decomposed into the three steps. So this is the three steps works, not the one steps. First, retrieve the current value of C. Whenever they are going to the C++, what is the current value of C? First, they are reading current value, then incrementing by one, then incrementing by one, again store, then again store back to their C. So these are the three steps of operation. When the same time multiple threads are accessing the same method, all are doing the same increment operation, that is the kind of interleave problems. Let's suppose suppose thread A invoke the increment at the same time B also invoke the decrement. Okay, so you have a C counter variable. Let's get initial value here C 0. Okay, let's get thread 1 get a chance retrieve value 0. Thread B get a chance retrieve value 0. Now thread A increment it. Now they increment to 1. Okay, and now B decrement means they have read 0, so their decrement 0 to -1. So now after the third statement, thread A going to store his value. They are going to store his value is 1. Okay, but at the same time B get a chance, B store his value. So B store his value is -1, -1. So in anyhow, there are interleave operation. Due to that, you are losing the threads A problem. So threads A result is lost, override by thread B, because B get a later chance, thread A get a first chance. So in this particular, interleaving is only one possibility. Under the different circumstances, it might be thread B result is get lost, or there could be no error at all, because they are unpredictable. Threads threads interference bugs can be difficult to detect and fix. So these kind of interleave problem happen when you are trying to thread communication using the shared resources. If this is your shared resources, and this is in the case of our counter, a counter is accessed by your thread A, counter is accessed by thread B. The possibility might be you are getting a thread interleave problem. Some circumstances getting a problem. Some circumstances might you are not getting a problem. Your output would be the same. This is different upon the depend upon the number of on which your hardware are working, and how threads get a chance. Might be thread get a first chance and do all the steps. After that, thread get a B a chance, and then there is no any problem. Both are working as per the current behavior. But the possibility is that both started simultaneously. That is the problem. So these kind of problem happen when you are trying to make one thread communicate to another threads via passing a shared resources. And the second problem about the memory consistency. Whenever you are sharing common resource between the multiple threads, might happen that what data is written in the memory is not consistent. Threads A expecting I am writing A, I should retrieve A, but I am writing a B or I am writing a C. Why might be different threads have changed the value? So memory consistency error occur when different threads have an inconsistent view of a, okay. So here memory consistency occur when different threads can inconsistent view of the value. What should be the same? Actually, if this is the one value store here A, if thread 1 read also A, thread B read also A, thread C read also A. But sometime threads A read A, sometime B read different value and different view. This is the cause of memory inconsistency. So to key to avoid the memory consistency error to understand the happen before relationship. Okay, so this relation simply guarantee that memory writes by one specific statement are visible to the other specific statement as well. So how to guarantee? If some threads are going to the right here, okay, whatever they have write, after that the updated value should be reflected to the all the threads. So this is known as happen before relationship. If any update or any write operation on perform on the shared resources, shared variable, that latest value should be reflected to the all the threads, so that ki all threads know ki this is the latest value, and always all the threads are work on the latest value. In this way, we can solve the memory consistency error. So please be ensure whenever you are going to establish thread communication between multiple threads via passing the some shared resources, these kind of errors you face, thread interleave and maybe memory consistency, so you have to take care. So how to take care? Generally is the best Java offer simplest way. You just ensure that those methods which are in the case of our increment method or decrement simultaneously invoked by multiple thread. In anyhow, you have to ensure that at a time only one thread can get a chance. You can solve the problem. So the Java programming language provide the two basic forms of a synchronization. One is the synchronized method, one is the synchronized statement. So you can solve complete whole method you can synchronize, or the setup portion, the setup statement. I want to only this setup statement 1 2 3 should be synchronized. Synchronized means if multiple thread try to access to this set of instruction, only one can get a chance, rest will wait. When when the thread is complete and the release, after that next get a chance, next get a chance, anyone can get a chance. So please be sure synchronization have a two mode. One is the method level synchronizer, another is the statements level synchronization. Statement is set of codes, set of lines you want to restrict, only one thread at a time can access. So synchronized methods enable a simple strategy to preventing the thread interference and memory consistency error. So whenever you are applying the particular method level synchronization keyword, you have to simply way to solve these two problems. First is thread interleaving problem, and second your memory inconsistency problem. If an object is visible to more than one thread, all reads and write to the object's variable are done through the synchronized keyword. So general preference is whenever you are going to sharing the common resources and the particular the write operation happen, a read operation happen, be ensure that that come in the form of synchronized block. Maybe the methods are block. In this way, you can solve the both thread interference and memory consistency error. So whenever we are talking about the synchronizations, they have a terms come as a lock. How to prevent? How you are prevented? Let's see. This is the our object, and they are a field. Okay, in the multiple threads are trying to access the same time. So how will prevent this object should be one can get a chance, rest will be okay. The concept of some lock here. Okay, each object have a some kind of lock. In one thread can acquire the lock and enter the synchronized method a block and perform operation. Whenever leave, they can release the lock. So here the terms of about the lock. So by default, whenever you are applying the synchronization keyword, they have introduced known as a intrinsic lock. So synchronization is built about the internal entity known as a intrinsic lock or monitor lock. So this terminology we have to know: intrinsic lock or monitor. Whenever you are using synchronized, Java runtime system internally maintain uh, this achieve to allow only one thread can access the shared resources at a time through your intrinsic lock. Sometime intrinsic lock also known as a monitor lock. Okay, so intrinsic lock play a role in the both aspect of the synchronizations, enforcing exclusion access to an object state and establishing a happen before relationship that are essential to the visibility. So they whenever you are using the synchronization, they internally Java runtime system internally apply the intrinsic lock, and intrinsic lock are enforcedly sure that your object status is accessed by only one thread and also establish the happen before relationship. Okay, until this particular operation is not completed, no one other thread can get, and all threads are getting the latest and updated value. So the visibility problem can also solve. Okay, so here Java, every object have an intrinsic lock associated with it. So whenever you're creating any object 1, object 2, object 3, with each object there is a one intrinsic lock. Okay, the by convention a thread uh, need exclusive and consistent access to the object the field to acquire the object intrinsic lock before accessing them. And so if you want to access the particular fields of an object, you have to first need the lock of intrinsic lock. You get the lock, access the lock, and then you have option uh, to modify it. And after the completions of your statement, you then release the intrinsic lock. Okay, when it done with them. So thread said to be own the intrinsic lock between the times it has acquired the lock and released the lock. So as long as threads own the intrinsic lock and no other thread can acquire the same lock, the other thread will block when attempt to acquiring the lock. So this is the concept of intrinsic lock. As per the Java, each and every object have an intrinsic lock. Intrinsic lock. Any threads try to access this object. Okay. So if you mention this is the synchronization, so this lock is allowed to the only one thread at a time. The only one can let's this get a chance, this go enter and update the value, and after that release come out and the release the lock. Now this is lock free, maybe thread 1 get a chance and do operation. So be aware by default each and every lock object have a intrinsic lock, and whenever this is only active when you are going to use the synchronized keyword. If you are not using the synchronized keyword, there is no any concept of intrinsic lock required and not lock required. By default locks are disabled on each and every object, but whenever you are trying to access those objects via synchronization, that is the intrinsic lock play a role. So please ensure you, each object have a one lock. Okay, if you want to ensure only one thread can access it, you can just use the synchronization. So this lock concept, intrinsic lock, a monitor lock, internally implemented by your JVM. You don't worry how to get lock, how to release lock. This is the responsibility of your Java runtime system. You have to just ensure that this method I want to only one thread can access at a time in a multi-threaded environment. Apply the synchronization. Or this is the set of line I want to execute by the only one thread at a time. Make a synchronized statement. And the rest of the locking, intrinsic lock, how to acquire lock, how to release lock, this is all the taken care by your Java runtime system. Okay, so locks in the synchronized method. So whenever till now we have talked about the updating the field. Similarly, when a thread invoke the synchronized method, it automatically acquire the intrinsic lock for the method's object and release when the method returns. Let's say we are talking a object a dot invoke the method function f1. So object of a is intrinsic lock is first acquired, then invoke that function. Okay, and whenever method return, your lock is automatically released. The lock release occur when if the return was caused by the uncaught exception as well as any kind of exception occur in any of your control return from methods, your locks is also released. So as a developer, you don't worry ki I am going to acquiring the lock of a particular object, then invoke a method, and whenever particular method complete, we have to manually release the lock. All it is done by the your runtime system. Similarly, generally we know कि method can have two kind of method. Instance method. For instance method, the object is locked on which the instance a particular method is invoked. Similarly, what happen when static synchronized method is invoked? So static method is associated with the class, not to the object. In this case, thread acquire the intrinsic lock for a class object associated with the class. Thus, the class static field is controlled by the lock and that distinct from your any instance logs. So be aware for we have two kind of one is the class level fields and method, similarly one is the object levels instance fields and method. For instance level, this is a different intrinsic locks that for each instance apply. Similarly for static method, this is the class level lock known as a class object, and this they have also intrinsic lock. So you have don't worry, maybe you are accessing your field method, maybe instance method or static method. Java runtime system provide the intrinsic lock concept for the both static method as well as the non-static. Maybe class level fields are method or instance level fields are method. Both have a separate locks. So about the any method you can apply syncer simply with synchronized statement. Another way to create the synchronized code using the synchronized statement. Unlike the synchronized methods, synchronized statement must be specify the object. So if you this line of two line of code, this is the line of and you want this two line of code should be executed by only one thread at a time. So you can apply the synchronized keyword, and this is the parenthesis, and here you can say on which object you want to get a intrinsic lock. Okay, so here you have to specify key now specifically synchronize means internally Java runtime system are getting intrinsic lock of this object. Any object you can pass here. So synchronization statements are also useful to improving the concurrency with the fine grained synchronizations. Suppose your method have 100 line of code. Okay, uh, this complete 100 line of code, if a method level you apply synchronizations, so all the codes are in the single access thread, but maybe a parcel this set of code not needed, maybe multiple thread can be accessed. So still if you apply the method level means you are restricting to access of your non you can say non uh, critical section as well as. So we have to at the synchronize block level synchronization help us to make a lock for the fine grained. Okay, that help us to only restrict at a time only one thread can performs execute some statement, not the complete method. So as preferable way, always try to use the if your methods is so large and in all the codes all the lines you don't want to maybe like a synchronization, so go to the synchronized statement. So whenever we have a concept of re-entrant synchronization as well as we have a one object. Okay, and this object have a function 1, function 2, function 3. From function 1 synchronize, function 2 synchronize, function 3 synchronize. You have to invoke from function 1 to function 2, function 1 as the same object. So can again going to wait for the lock or not. So recall method recall that a thread cannot acquire a lock owned by the another threads. Okay, so print thread 1 if acquire the lock of object 1. Okay, so in no other thread can acquire the lock of object 1, but a thread can acquire lock that already owns. If t1 try to acquire again lock of this instance, it can. So allow a thread can acquire the same lock more than once. That is known as a re-entrant lock or re-entrant synchronization. This describes a situation where synchronized code directly or indirectly invokes a method that also contains synchronized code. Both set of codes use the same lock. Without re-entrant synchronization, synchronized code would have to take many additional precautions to avoid the thread cause itself to block. So sometimes a situation where you feel we have to uh, take a lock of one object, and from that lock, maybe your recursive call, or you're calling to the different synchronized method of same object. So generally say if any method is synchronized before invoking, the thread get lock of that object. If the thread already have locked, again re-enter they allow. Same threads allowed to get a intrinsic lock of more than one time for the same thread. Not other thread can get a lock, intrinsic lock more than one times. Excuse me. So here we talk about the um, synchronized method, synchronized statement. Sometime about the words about the atomic atomic action is the one that effectively happen all at once. Okay, atomic action cannot be stopped in the middle. It either happen completely or it doesn't happen at all. No side effect on the atomic action are visible until the action is completed. So generally always prefer you have a right set of instruction that should be atomic in the case of your multi-threading, so that your applications logically behave correct. So the logically correctness, your actions should be atomic. Okay, we have already discussed about the this operation plus plus. Look like this is the one operation, but this is the, not. This is the does not describe as atomic operation. Even very simple expression can be defined as a complex action. Okay, so decompose into the mother. Here, read and write. So read and writes are atomic reference variables, mostly for the primitive and the longs and double. These two types, whenever you're going to read or write, this is not atomic. They are not 64-bit long data types. So first 32-bit and second 32-bit. So might be first 32-bit read by thread 1, a second 32-bit read by second 4. So most primitive is the atomic except your longs and double. We know this is not atomic operations. So how to ensure the variable like read and write operations are atomic for all variables? That is declare your volatile. So this is the concept of a volatiles. Whenever you are declaring any variable as a volatiles, that ensure this operation should be atomic. One particular thread can be update the actual value so that all the threads can read the same value, or this thread is not actually doing. Atomic means this operation completely happen or not middle or completely ignore. So always guidelines your operations should be atomic in a multi-threaded environment so that your business logic cannot be between your business. Whenever we are talking about the atomic action cannot be interleaved, so ensure that your atomic action cannot be, they can be used without the fear of thread interference. If any your actions, yes, statement is atomic, so you have don't worry ki we are getting like kind of a thread interference problem. So atomics variable atomic reads, this does not eliminate all the needs of synchronization atomic action, because the memory consistency error are still possible. So using volatile variable reduce the risk of memory consistency error, because any write on a volatile variable establish a happen before relationship with the subsequent reads of that same variable. This means that the change to a volatile variable are always visible to other threads. Whenever any variable you mark as a volatile that is modified by the multiple threads, this volatile ensure that they always read the latest value by other threads. What's more, it's not mean that when a threads read volatile variable, it it see not just the latest changes the volatile, but also side effect about the code and lead to the change. So there is some level of you have a apply the uh, concept of, you can say, all the latest value are write by any threads, all the other threads get the latest value. Using simple atomic variable access more efficient than accessing variable through the synchronized code. So instead of particular, let's particular fields is accessing from, maybe you can restrict atomic, make atomic using the volatile. Second, maybe you can don't make a volatile, just you are trying to access from the synchronized method. I want to access sim variable from method and provide the setter gets for setting the value also from method. So on method level you are apply synchronization, get the same benefit, and same you can achieve from volatile as well. So here you say the atomic variable is more efficient accessing than variable through the synchronized code. The preferable way to use the volatiles, if only particular variable primitives, a non-primitive you want to restrict. You want to say ki all the threads are get the latest value, but require more care to programmer to avoid memory consistency error. Here there is a problem. They are not completely solve the you can say replacement of synchronized methods are blocked with a volatile. No, still they have a problem with the memory consistency. So please be ensure whether an extra effort is required depend upon the size and complexity of the application. So these are the two tools, synchronized and volatiles, both help us to make happen before relationship. But volatiles are basically are maybe any data types, maybe uh, particular fields you make a volatile, so that key any other threads are try to change the value of the volatile field. That volatile ensure that the other threads can get the latest value. So these are the uh, issue discuss when you are establishing a thread communication between the shared resources. And now two problem, thread interference and memory consistency, solve from the synchronized method or block are volatile. Okay, but whenever we are going to use a synchronization keyword for the sharing particular fields, a particular method have some other kind of cause we have to take. So the concurrent application ability to execute a timely manner known as a liveness. Okay, concurrent application ability to execute a timely manner known it's a liveness. And the liveness the most common kind of liveness problem is your deadlock and your starvation and your live lock. Okay, so let's discuss one by one what it is, and so that we know these are the point you have to take care while using the synchronized method or block. If you're not using the synchronized methods or block, there's no sense of to knowing them. But why we are need the synchronization region key want to prevent thread interference and your memory consistency when you are going to make thread communication between the passing the shared resources. So let's discuss about the first deadlock. This is a very common problem. Each and every developer should know about the meaning, but you have to aware when deadlock happen in your code as well as in the this situation. Deadlock describe a situation where two or more threads are blocked forever, waiting to each other. Simple. Okay. Let's we have a thread one. Okay. We have a two resources. Let's we have a resources A, a resources B. Okay. Let's keep T1 thread need a two resources to work. They need A, they need a B, and this is another thread T2. T2 also need a, this is the T1 thread This is a T1 thread. This is the T2 thread. They also need your B resources, then A resources. First, they are going to A take a lock A and doing some operations. After that, they want to the B. But simultaneously, T2 thread come and T2 acquire the lock of B, and they are doing something. After that, they are demanding I need a object. Now A is held by the another threads. So they are going to wait. Now after some time, T1 thread try to say now I need a B, but B is held by the thread T1. Hold T1. So here problem occur is that T1 is waiting the T1 is holding the lock of A and now demanding to I need a lock of B. But the same situation, T2 thread said I have a holding the lock of B, but to complete my job task I need the object of A. So they are waiting for the acquired lock of A. So in this situation, both threads are trying to wait to get a lock of particular resources, and both are dependent to each other. Now they are waiting forever. Now this situation known as a deadlock. So you have to think while using the thread synchronization. So please be avoid this kind of circular dependency to solve this problem. How to solve this problem? You have to ensure if first if A get a lock, if two resources, the all threads are getting the same order lock. A get a chance, then give it. So in this case, you don't allow to this also need a then B. Both are tried to getting a lock A. Anyone can get, then do B, and then after that next thread get a chance. So you have to ensure your acquire of locks should be in the same order like other thread want. So in this way you can break the circular dependency and you can solve the deadlock problem. So this is the problem deadlock if two threads are trying to get some resources but both are locked by another resources and both are waiting for each other. Second problem, you have to know about the starvation. Starvation describes a situation where a thread is unable to gain regular access to the shared resources and is unable to make progress. This happens when shared resources are made available for longer period of time activity threads. For example, suppose an object provides synchronization method that often take a long time to return. If one thread invokes this method frequently, other threads also need to frequent to access the same object. So this kind of that means simply let's keep we have a this is the resources one. Okay, we have a thread T1, T2, T3, T1 get a times and do some work. Here T2 waiting ki I will to take them, but this T1 does not return frequently. Maybe the reintrant invoke again same time, again invoke same time. Now other threads are waiting a longer period of times. So this situation come away starvation. Now thread 1 get a chance and not release the logs frequently so that another thread can get a chance to run, but another threads are waiting until the particular lock is not released by thread 1. So this kind of also problem happen. So please be ensure your all threads get a fair chance to access the shared resources. If shared resources is you are say this is shared resources that can be accessed by thread 1, thread 2, thread 3, then you have to ensure all thread 1, 2, 3 get after some time get a chance. So sometime your methods here some threads in this way you design they are not releasing lock so early and another threads are waiting for it. So this situation known as a starvation. So please be ensure you have a writing some code where each thread get a fair chance to access the shared resources. Some problem also known as a live lock. So deadlock starvation. Similarly, problem may face while you are using the synchronization keyword in the live log. Okay, thread often act in the respond to the action of another threads. Another thread's action is also response to the action of another thread. Then live lock may result. Uh, with the deadlock and a live lock, threads are unable to make further progress. Similarly, in deadlock, both threads are not able to further press forwarding. But here, threads are not blocked. Okay. In the case of deadlock, both threads are blocked. Wait, I am getting a query lock. I am getting query lock. But in the case of live lock, both threads are not blocked, but they are not going to the complete his jobs. They are waiting the response of this. They are getting the response of this. But both are in not a blocked state. But both are not able to further progress. That means they are simply too busy to responding to each other. Then they resume work. This comparable. This is the comparable two people attempting to pass each other in the corridor. Example: Alphonse moved his left to let the Gaston pass, while Gaston moved his right to let the Al- Alphonse pass. In this way, seeing that they are still blocking to each other, Alphonse is again moved this right, while Gaston again moved to left. In this way, both are trying to help to each other, but due to some sequence, the way they are helping to each other are not able to anyone to complete his jobs. So in this situation, known as a live lock is a situation where uh, where this thread 1 and thread 2 are trying to complete some jobs, but due to the some response of this thread, where response of this threads, they are in a circular wait. They're responding to him and they're responding to him, and both are feeling key after this complete I will do, this complete I will do, both in the situation of in progress, and final outcome both are not able to complete the jobs. This situation known as live log. Here both are trying to do something, but still due to the in sequence they are not able to complete the whole task what they have assigned. But this is the live log. Differences between the deadlock. In deadlock, both threads are waiting to complete, waiting to each other. Both are the blocked kind of situation. So these are the some kind of situations you have to ensure to mm, using. You can ensure you avoid deadlock. You should you avoid starvation problem. You should avoid your live lock problem. Okay. The next we are talking about the guarded blocks. What is this? Thread often have to coordinate their actions. The most common coordination idiom about the guarded block. So, what is the guarded block? Uh, a block belonging by polling a condition that must true before the block can proceed. The number of situation. Okay, in this situation, let's key I want this kind of things here. Example, just make out something I want to some, let's key this is the joy conditions, and someone alter not this change, I have to wait here, I have to wait here. So generally developer write while infinite true until someone cannot change this value, you are not going to this. Joy has been achieved only, this is the change. So simple loop guard. Waste, wa- Wastage of processor times, don't do this. This is a simple way. Sometime developer write key, write while loop here, while loop, and waiting someone to change the status here, and after that they are going to step 1 2 3. So this type you can guard somewhere. This statement only executed after this state while joy condition change. But this is generally avoid to guard your kind of a statement. They are, you are not just waiting, we are just consume wastage of you are just wasting your processor time. Here you are getting a CPU and waiting. Don't do this way. They have an alternative. If you want to some current thread should be paused for some times, and someone inform ki I'm okay, then you will continue. For that, Java provides some different mechanism. Please go with that. Don't make a while loop in a make don't so make sure your processor is busy. No, in this unnecessary you are wasting a processor. Between this time your processor can serve for another thread, serve for another jobs. So this is the simplest. Generally a person, a developer don't know ki how to wait for some times, how to wait for guarding positions. So general developer write code this way. Please be avoid to writing infinite while loop until some condition not meet. So what is the way different mechanism? So we are discussing here the mechanism about the this object class have provided kind of method known as a wait. Okay, you just wait. Okay, I am going to waiting the particular actions. If particular action happen, I will continue. So object dot wait suspend the current threads. So whatever threads currently running, just suspending. Suspending. The invocation of wait does not return until the other thread has issue a notification that some special event may have occurred. Though though not necessarily uh, though not the necessarily the event has a waiting a thread. Okay, so the logic here is that key, let's key here the current threads, current processors execute this, and in this condition I want someone to notify me, then I'm going to execute this and this. So here you have to apply the wait say current thread execution is suspended, and when someone notify, then again continue from this line. Okay, so this way you can use the wait method to suspending your execution for some times. So here same, here you are okay, but you are like your wait method. So in wait method your current threads are going to suspend. You now your processor is can serve another threads. Now you have to apply here wait. Please be sure wait is only applied inside your synchronized methods or synchronized block. Without synchronization, wait cannot be applied. Please. So this guard only loops occur for each special event when which may not be event we are waiting. So here condition change wait. Someone until not modify, then this condition not going to change. So our here your processor is not just busy, just leave, and now your processor going to do another work. When someone notify me, another get a chance and do. So this is the kind of your situation. Please be ensure don't write any funny while loop and waiting and just busying your CPU. Instead just you apply wait so that your current thread execution can be suspended. So always invoke wait inside a loop that is condition being waited for. Don't assume that the interrupt was for the particular condition when you are waiting, so the condition is still true. So until your condition is true, you are going to wait. Whenever condition falls, you will come out. So this wait or just wait method is not just busying your CPU processor, but they are just suspending your current execution for next notification. So this is the benefit of just busying your doing keep involving your processor to do nothing, just wait for me. Instead you can apply the wait method is just suspend your current execution for next notification. When someone get notified, how to notify, they have a some also this is object class provide the wait method. Similarly object class provide the notify method. Let's so when when wait method is invoked, the thread release the lock and suspends execution. So whenever you are invoking your wait method, at that time whatever the locks they have acquired, release the locks, and a current execution also suspended. The two works, you're releasing the lock if the particular current threads hold some lock, they release those locks and also suspend the current execution for some further time. So another thread will acquire the same locks and invoke a notify all function. So this inform all the threads waiting for the log that something important to be happen. So in this way you can apply notify. You have apply joy condition true and then notify all. So whenever you have notify all, that that is the event happen. Now await method just resume working from there. So after some time that second threads have a release the locks and first threads acquire the relock and resume the returning from your invocation wait. What do you mean by that? Here let's keep this method is notify. So first this initially this is here we apply the await. The wait release the locks and suspend the execution. Now this is just notify them. Now he again acquire the locks and continue his working. Sorry. This way you can say wait wait and notification by another threads will happen. So here also this is the second notification. Sometime we have a object class provide the notify method as well as which in wake ups a single thread, because notify doesn't allow you to specify the thread that is waken up. It's useful only in the massive parallel application. That's a pro program with a large number of threads all doing the similar things. So please we don't care about which threads get ups. Okay, so generally they have a two options. Sometime you want to only one thread can notify, but you don't specify the specific thread, anyone can, but someone want to all the threads notify all. There are two methods, notify and notify all. So let us write the one example where notify matter helps. So this is a very well known problem with the producers and consumer problems. Here what we have, one shared resources a drop. Okay, and they have same object. You have passed one producer threads and one consumer threads. Now producers and consumer both are sharing the drop resources, and they have a kind of one here the what we are going to understood. This is the one drop message. They have a message. If one thread write a message, another thread read a message. Okay, you write a message and read a message. Then when this read, new message write, this new message read. So this is how we are going to think. Okay, so let's write example to understood. So here our objective is that we have a thread 1. Okay, we have a thread 2. Let's see, this is the producer thread, this is your consumer threads. We are writing two threads. They have one shared resources like one drop have a one message. Okay, this is the message. Okay, so first producer going to produce some message and wait wait to consumed by the consumer. When the consumer consume this message, they have to notify ki I am done. Then producer again produce the new message, again consumer consume and consume. In this way, producer consumer wait and notify function work. Let's write a code and then we'll visualize. We have write a class drop, and drop have a one message private, and let's first the what problem occur without the wait synchronization, and then this is the one. Now we have write class producer implements your runnable. Okay, and here just producer producing some messages, and now need a drop on drop shared resources. Drop. Okay, now here we have, let's get two methods. One is your public void uh, put and give some messages. Producer produce put a string message start message, and we have another method public like uh, get take a string, and that take like a take method. They have a just what the current message, they have to return message. This way we have a one shared object, they have a some message, someone put message and one get message. So producer are going to the this is the drop object, they have just going to the they are going to the put message. So which message they are going to put, let's create one message string msc equal to, let's key, they are going to message like counter like q1 teacher c count equal to 1. Let's equal to like here c plus plus multiple, let's key I'm going to write in a loop. So here you can say message, they have to put message. Let's like some while loop like let's like write a code like count less than your 50. That's 50 message I want to send here. So inside your, let's key after dropping I just wait for some times. Let's key thread that sleep. Okay, let's key one new random number, let's key random number random equal to new random. Okay, wait for some time, let's we are a random dot get next, let's key 1000 millisecond. So the thread sleep method is the throw interrupt exception, so we have to handle it. Okay, so this way this is the producer, they matters produce until your count is less than 50. Similarly, let's give a arrived another producer and the consumer consume message. Another thread, let's key consumer and consumer have a constructor. Now consumer, what do consumer just try to s out just drop dot tick. just say message consumed. Consumed. Okay, message consumed. Here say let's message produce. Message one produced. Okay. So now we have a two thread, one producer producing, one consumer consuming. So here let's start make one shared resources drop equal to new your shared resources, and here you are creating a new thread dot start. We have created two threads. So here you pass the new producer and producer take your drop, and same new consumer take a drop. Okay, so here you pass. So here you have a created the two threads, your producer threads. Producers have a one common. We have created one common resources drop and pass to the producer. Same drop you pass to the consumer. Okay, producer is start producing data here. Consumer going to the consume. Okay, simple. Producers are putting a message. Consumers are consuming message, taking message. So let's run and then take what we are thinking, each message sent by producer and consumer consume or not. Okay, here I am not to count plus plus same message. So here we have to change your this message should be inside your loop. Okay. Okay. So here let's observe the output. So here what happened? Your one is produce, one consume. Let's write some message here before producing, no? So that we can say which method is produced. S out message. Okay, and then you write here your null produce, then one produce. So let's stop and consume. So here what do you think? Here let's just first to null consume, but there is if there is no message, consumer should not consume. First, this is the problem. Second, let's keep message one produce, message one consume, good. Message two produce, two consume. Message three produce, but three is not consume. Four produce, four consume. Message three is your loss. Message five produce, message six produce, six consume, but five is lost. So here our message three is lost, your message five is lost. Your consumer, there is no any message still they are consuming. So this I want until the producer is not produce one message one, first consumer consume one, then producer produce two, then consumer consume two. Okay, if there is no data, then consumer please wait. If the producer have produced one item and until this not consumed, this is waiting as well as. So in this way you want to say कि one message is produced then one is consumed. So how to make a thread communication? There is no thread communication happen. So for that what we'll do, we need a thread communication happen. So this is shared resources. You just say ki I am going to at a time only one thread can take it. So here I am say synchronized. Here I am say synchronize. Both is okay. Okay. But whenever if let's keep take come until take there is no any message, then this should be wait. So here I am going to take some variable like boolean and see if empty let's equal to true. Initial value is true. Okay, empty true. What happened on first things key whenever our message whenever if empty, then we have to put some message. So while a empty true, and then you have to when this is a block there is true means key now we have to put the message. So we have to not wait and say here wait. Sorry, wait is the synchronize method, and you can just throws interrupted exception. Okay, they are throwing okay. Similarly, if this is the initially empty, don't wait and come most put the message, and then say our empty equal to false, toggle the value and just notify. Okay, and here say whenever if consumer try to take, if uh, uh, your empty there is no message, then you have to wait through interrupted exception. Let's keep client handled interrupted exception. So wait, and whenever this empty here is set a false, then either come here and then set your empty equal to true again and simply notify. So in this way what you say कि whenever let's keep consumer consume first message, if your there is no any message, then wait. Okay, in see our null message was produced. So until some message is not put your consumer should be wait. If consumer is waiting, who will notify? Producer is notifying. So let's keep well now producer get a chance and say it's empty initially true, true not true, then it's false, that going to produce the message and check empty equal to false. Now it is not empty, and then whenever you notify this is get notification, they come out and just say ki, okay empty true, this is my I take message and return the message whatever the message written here. In this way you are able to make synchronization happen. So let's run and try to observe the output. In producer consumer there is each and everything is okay. Now let's run it and look some output. Let's see here, look. Yes, so one is the produce, one is consumed, two is produced, two is consumed, two is produced, two is consumed. Uh, then three is produced, three is consumed, two is produced, two is consumed, uh, produced, consumed. So here what you are trying to say ki until the message is not produced consumer, that's consumer consume message one before produce, two consumed, two produce, three consumed, three produce, four consumed, four produce, five consumed, five produce, six consumed, six produce. So here we are ensuring, here in the case of this is our drop, this is one common resources, this is the producer, this is the consumer. Let's say consumer first come, then they have a wait. Reason is that we have one flag your empty initially true. True means there is a no any message. So let's look at the code. So here what happened, we have a one drop. This is the shared resources or drop. They have a one about the one thing about the message, another is your flag true. Initially default is the true. This is shared by your producer. This is shared by your consumer. Let's say consumer get a first chance. Consumer going to try to take a message. Let's try to take a message. Here you have a flag set true, initially true. True means you have to wait. You have to wait until you are not getting a notification. Now let's give producer get a chance. Producer get a chance here. Oh, sorry. Your drop. You have a message. One have a flag. This is the producer. This is your consumer. Now producer say ki, if this flag is true, initially true, so that means false. They are not going to wait. They are going to put a message. Whatever message one, they are going to put one message here. And after that say input is false. Now it's a say came false and I am notifying else. Whenever they notify, this waiting thread are getting a notification. Getting notification, they come out say again means ki I am take one message, I am returning the message and setting again false. So that this thread again get empty and just put value. So in this way, one is putting one message, this is consume and set again false. If let's keep P1 again get a chance, this flag is a false. So they are waiting until the message is not consumed. If message consumed, then they are putting a data. Message consumed, they are putting data. If message not consumed, they are still waiting. Here they are waiting. Message is not consumed, then this is the waiting. So in this way, you can simply implement your producer consumer problem with your wait and notify. Okay, your producer is wait if your drop is empty, means your true empty is a true, then wait. And consumer is wait until the same drop is a true. Producer produce some data and change a false. Then this get notification false, it's consume message again change the flag, then produce data, then consume data. In this way producer consumer happen. So please ensure that these wait and notify functions are inside your synchronized method or synchronized block. They are defined inside your object is a superclass. Okay, so all the object have this method wait and notify. Okay, this is the notify function as well as. This is also inside your object class. Object have a notify method. Okay, so these so in any object you can take a lock and wait and notify happen. So these are the very low level mechanisms to thread synchronizations. Okay, thread communication. Thread want to communicate to one thread want to communicate to another thread using the shared resources. So on shared resources you apply wait and notify. So this is the same problem I discuss you. We have a one drop method, one producer, one consumer. Drop have a one message and one empty concept. And similarly, we have a here producer. Producer put the message and consumer just take a message. Producer is producing message, producer is producing, consumer is consuming, and after random times. And when what the drop message say, put and take method. Take method say if you're empty, then I am waiting. Okay. Whenever someone notify me, I come out. return consume the message. Here producer say if not empty, if someone message is not consumed, then I am voting. If message is not consumed, then I am going to write the new message, whatever message I retrieve, and in to notify. Whenever I am changing the message, new message, I am notifying. Notification is received by this thread. I am notification, then go and consume the message. In this way, notification and producers wait a notification happen. So the one of the last point today about if this is the shared object that is shared by the multiple threads. If this object is immutable object, then there is no need of any synchronization. There is no need of any locking mechanism. Immutable objects fields or object value cannot generally change. So any one thread can only doing the reading. If they are reading thread, they are reading thread, they are reading thread, there is no any problem. In the case our drop message, they have a put function allow the change the status message, That is the problem. Okay. So if you are able to thread communication by immutable object, you have don't need any synchronization. There is no need of any thread safety problem. So if possible, two threads are communicating by immutable object, that is the best things. But always immutable is not solve our problem to the shared thread communication. Sometime you have to pass shared resources with the non-mutable. So the good practice general always guide whenever you are passing some object between the threads, you pass the immutable. So how you write your immutable object? The best way, don't provide any setter that modify your field, and make your all the fields as a private and final, so that while the constructor all the final variable are initialized, after that no one can change. And also don't allow any subclass to override the same method to make your class as a final. So simplest way to do, just declare your class as a final. Okay, don't provide any setter, make all the fields are private, make your class as a constructor, and also make your constructor private, so that we know other than and provide some factory method to creating an object. So if you want to some create the object of immutable class, don't provide any default constructor. Anyone can create. Provide one factory method. In factory method, you take some all the possible value of object, and once initialize, return the new object. So that no one can change. And this object is immutable object. You can share in between the multiple threads. There is no any thread safety violation. Your without synchronization, without any wait notification, your work code is work as things. So if the instance fields include the reference of a mutable object, don't allow object to be changed. So sometime might be your object references refer to the mutable object. In that case, you don't provide the method that modify the mutable object address. Don't share references that mutate your object. Never store the references to the external or mutable object pass in the constructor. Necessarily create a top copy and store the references to the copy. Similarly, create a copy of your internal mutable, and when necessary to avoid the returning original method. Sometimes you have some mutable object, but if someone to return the mutable, so always return the new copy of your mutable object, so that if someone can change then own copy, but original copy is still unmodifiable. So in this way, you have to ensure always you pass object between the share as the immutable object. So you don't need worry of all the problem which we discuss about the deadlock, the thread interleave. We don't need like any memory inconsistency. We don't like starvation, live lock problem. This is all the problem happen due to the synchronization. Why need a synchronization? Because I want uh, both threads are communicated with the shared resources. Shared resources, if allowed to change the field, that fields the problem. So if your shared object doesn't modify anyone, same object you share to the multiple object, both are reading the same data. They have not any right options. It's will be thread safe. So preference way to thread communication happen between your immutable object. Okay, if this immutable object shared by the multiple threads, thread 1, thread 2, thread 3, thread 4, don't worry, each threads are thread safety because no one thread have option to change the status. If no status change, all are reading always the latest value. No need the volatile, no need the synchronization, no need any. You are not facing any problem, deadlock, live lock, starvation. The preference way, whenever you want your two or more than one two threads are to communicate with the shared resources, shared objects should be must be immutable if feasible. So here, this is the complete from my side today the session. So preference way, if we have what we have discussed today about the if we have a shared resources, they are accessed by the multiple threads. Okay, there might be problem. One thread change some value, another thread a different value, interleave problem, memory thread interference problem, memory consistency problem that can solve from your synchronized keyword. Whenever you are synchronized, we are getting other kind of problem like deadlock problem, starvation problem, live lock problems, and these problems. And when the two threads you want to thread communication between the multiple threads with the wait notification concept, we discuss about wait and notifications, and finally we discuss if this shared resource is feasible, make your immutable. If immutable, there is no need of your synchronization. You have no need of any deadlock handling, starvation handling, live lock handling. All is done by your immutable object. So preferable way if you want to two or three threads, four threads are communicating with the shared resources should be immutable. So here again, I am like to say thank you for watching this video.